This is the RamanaMaharshi satsang. I'm reading and commenting on the Ashtavakra Gita. Listen, reflect, and deeply meditate. Know yourself. Excuse me for my technical difficulties. Welcome. I'm Richard Clarke. I'm not a guru or a teacher. Ramana's teaching of non-duality is deep and profound, and I want to share it. Today, I am reading and commenting on the Ashtavakra Gita, an important text of Advaita. Today, chapter 18, verses 53 to 56. Unbounded, unfettered, untethered from the projections of mind. The wise are free to play and enjoy or retire to mountain caves. Whether honoring a spiritual scholar, a god, or holy shrine, whether seeing a desirable woman, a king, or beloved friend, the heart of the sage is unmoved. Though his servants, sons, wives, daughters, grandchildren, and all his relatives ridicule and despise him, the yogi is undismayed. Though pleased, he is not pleasured. Though pained, he does not suffer. This wonderful state is understood only by those like him. So let's go through these verses and look deeply within. 1853. Unbounded, unfettered, untethered from projections of mind, the wise are free to play and enjoy or retire to mountain caves. This verse speaks to the absolute freedom of one who has realized the self. You are no longer held by the shifting patterns of thought or the needs of personality. Whether life offers action or stillness, the sage remains at ease, not because of circumstances, but because inner attachment has ended. The mind's projections no longer define reality. You can live in the world without being bound by it. True clarity reveals that nothing needs to be clung to or avoided. Freedom isn't found in a place or preference. It's in knowing what you are. Ashtavakra speaks directly to spiritual freedom, not as something you achieve through effort, but as the natural state once you stopped identifying with the movement of the mind. It tells you that once you see through the mind's habits of projecting meaning, desire, and fear, you are free. No longer trying to manage or manipulate your experience. You are not better off in a cave or at a festival. Both are equal when your identity is grounded in the self. You are not chasing stillness over action or joy over sorrow. You are simply resting in that which never changes. This is the freedom to respond to life without being entangled by it. 1854. Whether honoring a spiritual scholar, a god or holy shrine, whether seeing a desirable woman, a king, or beloved friend, the heart of the sage is unmoved. This verse shows that one who knows the self is no longer swept away by the differences the mind creates. Whether the object is sacred or sensual, high or low, beautiful or powerful, it doesn't touch the sage's center. You can recognize appearances and still not be caught in reaction. This isn't numbness, it is steadiness. You begin to see that everything is of equal value when you're not chasing or avoiding. The heart becomes quiet, stable, and no longer pulled towards praise or stirred by temptation. This verse invites you to see the depth of equanimity that comes when you're no longer pushed and pulled by preferences. It's easy to stay calm when life is ordinary, but this verse describes the sage's stillness in the face of both sacred reverence and worldly attraction. You're reminded that peace doesn't come from rearranging your circumstances. It comes from letting go of the belief that any object, person, or status can add or take away from what you already are, not any of them. When your attention is not hooked by comparison or desire, your heart rests. This doesn't mean you reject beauty or holiness. It means that you see everything clearly without clinging or pushing away. 1855. Though his servants, sons, wives, daughters, grandchildren, and all his relatives ridicule and despise him, the yogi is undismayed. This verse reveals the unwavering peace of mind of one who abides in the self. You might expect your loved ones to honor your path, but even their rejection doesn't shake you when you've recognized your true nature. The yogi is not hardened. He's simply not dependent on approval. His dignity does not rise or fall with other people's views. It comes from within. When identity has shifted from ego to self, insults lose their sting. You remain whole, untouched by praise or blame, free, even in the face of rejection of those close to you. Ashtavakra challenges you to examine where your sense of identity still depends on how others see you. It's one thing to feel calm in solitude, but another to remain undisturbed when those closest to you judge or reject you. The yogi's freedom is not hard-won pride, it's the quiet knowing of yourself. He's not trying to win favor or avoid shame. The yogi's peace does not rise and fall with the approval of family or society. This is a deep pointer. Your true self cannot be diminished by insults or lifted by praise. If you can stay centered even in the face of misunderstanding, something profound has been realized. You've stopped relying on the world to reflect your value back to you. 1856. Though pleased, he is not pleasured. Though pained, he does not suffer. This wonderful state is understood only by those like him. This verse points to a subtle but profound shift. The sage may experience pleasure or pain, but the sense of personal involvement is gone. You can feel warmth or discomfort, but the feeling doesn't take hold. There's no attachment to the pleasant or resistant to the unpleasant. The sense of the I who suffers or enjoys has fallen away. From the outside, it may seem like you're living as others do, but inside, there's a wide open space. The self is untouched, even as the body and mind move through sensations. Ashtavakra points to a subtle freedom, the difference between experiencing and identifying. You may still feel joy or discomfort, but you no longer build a personal identity around these experiences. You aren't clinging to moments of pleasure or recoiling from pain. You're not suppressing anything, and you're not numb. You're simply not caught up in events of happenings to the body. This shows you what happens when you live without the constant narrative of me and mine. There's a wide openness behind every experience, and that's where your attention rests. The verse isn't a call to become passive, it's a call to wake up from the drama of the mind and to sensation. It reminds you that peace is not the absence of feeling, but the absence of grasping. These verses reveal the natural stillness and freedom that arise when you recognize yourself. They show you that when the mind no longer claims your attention, you live in peace, unshaken by praise or blame, free in both solitude and company. And now we have a satsang discourse by Nome, The Silence of Being.
Dakshinamurti bestowed an eternal teaching, revealing timeless truth to his rishi disciples in silence. That very same silence is the silence of Sri Bhagavan. That same silence still abides as the very nature of yourself. The silence is of the nature of absolute immutable being. Realization of it, or self-knowledge, is identity with that. The knowledge of identity with that is certain. When we inquire within ourselves and realize there is only one indivisible self, that is, there is no one to comprehend or not to comprehend what has just been indicated, but just one self of the nature of Satchidananda, being, consciousness, bliss, alone exists always. This is a matter of self-knowledge. That is, the self alone comprehends the knowledge of itself. No other can do so. Where there is one without a second, as the Upanishad refers to it, there is knowledge. There is reality comprehending itself. This cannot be known through the senses or through the body. That is, one must abandon any misidentification as being a body or being an embodied entity in order to know. Similarly, in the abandonment of the misidentification as being a sensing entity, knowledge is revealed, innate knowledge that is neither bodily nor sensory. Similarly, this knowledge cannot be grasped in thought or by the mind, by any of the mind's permutations. It is not known as long as one regards the mind as an existent thing, as if there were two knowers in the one of you, mind and the consciousness, which is of the very nature of knowledge. When such misidentification or misconception is abandoned as so much imagined false definition, knowledge shines, self-revealed. It is all a matter of what you regard yourself as. If you regard yourself falsely, this self of the nature of absolute silence, which is Brahman, seems ungraspable. If an inquiry is made into the nature of the one who finds this ungraspable, his false definition, including the very notion of individuality, of existing as some kind of thing, vanishes, being unreal. And what remains is that silence which actually ever is and alone is. So then, when in ignorance, we seek a state of knowledge. Finding that knowledge, it is no state at all, but just being, which eternally is. And there is to be found no time when bondage was, when ignorance was. In this way, the entirety of the samsara is consumed. The illusion of birth, death, and all its suffering. Simply by knowing oneself. If the self is not known as it is, the unreal is imagined, and the one who so imagines is as unreal as that which he imagines. If the reality is known, it knows itself. God knows God, and that is yourself. The knowledge is of such utter non-duality that there is no one to separate from it, nor anyone to attain to it, nor anyone to maintain it, nor anyone to deviate from it, nor anything existing other at any time. Truth is self-revealed. The self shines in knowledge by its own light. Its happiness is self-sufficient. Its peace is unbreakable. Its freedom is without any limitation whatsoever. This realization is not an object, not something objectively perceived, but known in self-knowledge. It is not an occurrence or an event, but of the nature of the abiding reality. We cannot speak of it in terms of loss or gain. If you have seemed to lost hold of yourself, it's of utmost importance to realize that which you are. Nothing could be so more important than that. Realizing that, we find no lost state is possible. Hence the Maharshi's reference on numerous occasions to the story of the 10 men. There was no loss. That self is existing silently all along. Abandon the imagination that there is something else, something to cover it, something broken off from it. Thereby abandon dualism, which alone makes for unhappiness. In short, dive deep to know within yourself the answer to the question, who am I? As for the answer, silence is most eloquent.
And now we'll take a few minutes to inquire. You exist. Notice that you exist, and you know that you exist. Now inquire, investigate within yourself. What in me remains untouched, whether I act or rest? What in me remains the same, no matter who or what I encounter. Can I remain undisturbed even when those closest to me don't understand my path? What in me remains the same, whether pleasure or pain appears? Who am I? What am I? What is the nature of my existence? What actually exists? All right. And now we'll close with a chant. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Peace, peace, peace.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
All right, Robert, I think you got out of here in time. Any questions or comments from today's session?
Your name rings a bell. Do you live in Seattle, or did you ever live in Seattle?
No, we're in Mexico.
Well, that's certainly not Seattle.
Richard, I wanted to make sure you saw Robert's question about what version of this
Yeah.
touched
Oh,
you.
I didn't see the question. Let me look.
Thank you. I really appreciated the extended explanation, commentary. And Richard, I
No,
really,
it's a translation by Bart Marshall.
Bart Marshall, okay. I'll look it up.
And if you wanted, if I had your email address, I could send it to you.
I think you've got it. You sent me a while back, but let me give it to you again. You ready?
Uh,
Or I can text, I can email it to you.
if email it to me, that way I don't have to figure out where a pen is.
Actually, you know what? I just bought, there's only one copy left. I just bought it. So I've got
Oh,
it.
the same one, Robert?
Yeah, Bart Marshall.
Oh,
Yes, okay, so that's it.
Yep, done.
And it's an old translation. I think it's been knocking around for years.
Yep. Well, there's about 4 or 5, or maybe more, actually more, 6 or 7 in. But this is really, I like the, as I said, the extended explanation. Thank you very, very much. And if I can make it, with your permission, I will be a regular attender.
Wonderful. One of the things that is very good is for us to come together like this and listen to these teachings.
Yes, yes. I really appreciate just the simple reading. And then it's just the way you do it is beautiful, Richard. Thank you,
Well,
both Richard. And I'm sorry, what's your wife's name?
Clarke.
Clark.
Carol.
His last name is Clark.
Yeah.
And but your name's Carol. I want
Yeah.
Carol. Thank you, Carol.
Great. Well, we're glad to see you, and I'm glad to see all of you, and it's really a pleasure.
Bruce
Yeah.
has a question.
Bruce.
Yes.
Comment. I like the speed.
Yeah.
It's very different from all the other satsangs that I participate in, and I like the slowness of the pace of the meeting a lot.
I agree.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Well,
like
I feel like I learned that from Nome, from our teacher, because Nome
Yeah,
always
he has that. Yeah.
gives time for you to listen and reflect and meditate while he's talking.
Hmm.
Thank you. Thank you all. I better head out, but God bless you.
Okay. Anyway, namaste
Namaste.
See you all.
and see you next week.
Namo Ramanaya.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Namo Ramana.